Selling things online. That's not a real job, Alexandra. My father's voice boomed across our family dinner table, making the expensive china rattle. You have an MBA from Stanford, for God's sake. Harrison Enterprises needs a proper executive, not a— what do you call it? An e-commerce entrepreneur, I said quietly, pushing my untouched food around my plate. My sister Sophia snickered behind her wine glass. Is that what we're calling people who sell junk on the internet now? I tried to explain again. My platform helps small artisans reach global markets. We're already working with over 200 craftspeople, and our growth rate— Enough! Dad slammed his hand on the table. I've kept your position open for 3 months. Either you take your rightful place at the company, or you can forget about your trust fund. The silence that followed was deafening. My mother dabbed her lips with a napkin, avoiding my eyes. Sophia smirked, already imagining her increased inheritance chair. I stood up slowly, my chair scraping against the marble floor. Then I guess I'll forget about it. Alexandra, don't be ridiculous, Mom finally spoke. Your father built this company from nothing. It's your legacy. No, I replied, gathering my courage. He built it from Grandpa's millions. There's a difference. I walked out of that dinner and our family mansion for what I thought would be the last time. My phone buzzed immediately. Text messages from family members. Mom, you're breaking your father's heart. Sophia, good luck paying rent with your little website. Uncle James, don't throw away your future over pride. I turned off my phone and drove to my small rented office space in downtown Seattle. The sign on the door read Artisan Global, my company's name. Inside, 3 desks crowded the room, occupied by the only people who believed in my vision. Bad dinner. Mike, my chief technology officer and best friend since college, didn't look up from his coding. They're cutting me off, I said, sinking into my chair. Now he looked up. The trust fund? Everything. I turned on my computer, checking our dashboard. But look at this. We processed over $50,000 in orders today. Lisa, our marketing director, whistled. That's a new record. Still not enough to scale, Tom, our operations manager, pointed out. We need capital to build the infrastructure for real growth. He was right. What had started as a simple website helping local artisans sell handcrafted jewelry had exploded into something bigger. Craftspeople from around the world were begging to join our platform. Our unique authentication system, which verified the authenticity and quality of handmade goods, had caught the attention of serious collectors. But we were hitting a wall. Our servers crashed during peak times. Our payment processing system needed an upgrade, and the major investors we pitched were skeptical of the artisan market's potential. We'll figure it out, I said with more confidence than I felt. We always do. The next 3 months tested every ounce of that confidence. I moved out of my luxury apartment into a tiny studio. Every dollar we earned went back into the business. We worked 18-hour days, sleeping on office couches. Then came the breakthrough. Alex, Mike burst into the office one morning, his laptop clutched to his chest. You need to see this. He pulled up a video that had gone viral overnight. A teenage girl crying with joy as she opened a package containing a handmade bracelet from our site. My grandmother made these before she passed away, she sobbed in the video. I thought I'd never find one again, but Artisan Global had one from the same village in Peru. It's exactly like hers. The video had millions of views. Our site traffic exploded. This is it, Lisa breathed, watching our analytics spike. This is our story. We're not just selling crafts. We're preserving cultural heritage. She was right. We pivoted our entire marketing strategy. Every item now came with its story. The artisan's history, their technique, their culture. We weren't just a marketplace. We were a bridge between traditions and modern consumers. Investors who had ignored us started calling. But their terms were always the same. They wanted control, wanted to turn us into just another mass market platform. I refused every offer. Instead, we bootstrapped. I sold my car, my designer wardrobe, everything of value I owned. The team took minimal salaries. We moved to a cheaper office in a questionable neighborhood. But it was working. Our authentication system became the industry standard. Luxury brands started approaching us to verify their handcrafted claims. Major retailers wanted to partner with our artisans. 1 year after that fateful family dinner, I sat in our new office, still modest, but at least with functioning air conditioning, reviewing our quarterly reports. 2 million in revenue, Mike announced proudly, and that's just this month. And look at this, Lisa added, pulling up a social media post. It was from my sister Sophia, showing off an expensive bracelet. Just got this amazing handcrafted piece, so much better than those mass-produced ones. The brand she was wearing, one of our artisan partners. I allowed myself a small smile. She had no idea she was advertising my little website. But our success was about to face its biggest test. That evening, as we celebrated our latest milestone with cheap champagne and paper cups, my phone rang. It was my Uncle James, my father's brother and CFO of Harrison Enterprises. Alexandra, his voice was tense. We need to talk. The company, we're in trouble. Serious trouble. I set down my cup, putting the phone on speaker so my team could hear. What kind of trouble? The kind that could destroy everything your father built. We need an emergency investor, someone who understands both tech and traditional business. Someone discreet. I caught Mike's eye. He was already pulling up Harrison Enterprises' public financials on his screen, his expression growing increasingly concerned. Why are you calling me? I asked, I already knew. There's a rumor about a tech investor, someone who's been quietly buying up companies through shell corporations. They're calling them the ghost billionaire in industry circles. We need introduction. Now my whole team was staring at me, trying not to laugh. Because what my uncle didn't know, what no one in my family knew, was that they were talking about me. The ghost billionaire was Artisan Global's parent company, which had structured through multiple layers of corporations to protect our artisans' interests. We'd been quietly acquiring small tech firms, building an ecosystem around our authentication and e-commerce platform. My father's company needed saving, and they were asking me to help them. They just didn't know it yet. I'll see what I can do, I said calmly. Send me the details. After I hung up, the office erupted in laughter. Oh, this is too perfect. Lisa wiped tears from her eyes. What are you going to do? Tom asked. I looked around at my team, the people who had believed in me when my own family hadn't. At our modest office that had produced more real value than my father's gleaming corporate headquarters. I'm going to help them, I said. But first, they're going to learn exactly what selling things online really means. Mike raised his paper cup to the ghost billionaire. I clinked my cup against his, to karma. Little did my family know, their emergency meeting with the mysterious tech investor was just days away. And I had plans for Harrison Enterprises that would shake my father's corporate kingdom to its foundations. The Harrison Enterprises executive conference room hadn't changed in the year since I'd walked away. The same oversized mahogany table dominated the space, the same oil paintings of stern-faced businessmen, including my grandfather, glared down from the walls. But now I sat at the head of that table, dressed in a perfectly tailored Armani suit, my hairstyle professionally, nothing like the girl playing business they'd mocked a year ago. The only difference was that they didn't know it was me yet. My team had crafted the perfect disguise. Dark-tinted glasses, a wig that changed my signature red hair to dark brown, and a slight British accent I perfected during my Oxford exchange year. As far as my family knew, they were meeting with Victoria Sterling, the reclusive CEO of Sterling Tech Ventures. Ms. Sterling, thank you for coming on such short notice. My Uncle James began, his usual confidence wavering slightly. We've heard impressive things about your investment strategy. I nodded slightly, letting the silence stretch uncomfortably. My father sat directly across from me, looking older than I remembered. Sophia was there too, now a junior executive, fidgeting with her designer bracelet, still one of our artisan pieces, I noticed with amusement. Your situation, I finally said, my fake accent perfect, is more dire than you've admitted publicly. Dad stiffened. What do you mean? I gestured to Mike, introduced as my chief analyst, who began displaying figures on the presentation screen. Your traditional retail divisions are bleeding money. Your attempt to develop an e-commerce platform has failed spectacularly, and your recent tech acquisitions, I paused, letting them squirm, have been embarrassingly mismanaged. Now see here, my father started to bluster, but Uncle James cut him off. She's right, Richard. We need help. I opened a sleek folder. Sterling Tech Ventures is prepared to make an offer. However, our terms are non-negotiable. The terms were comprehensive. We would acquire a controlling interest in Harrison Enterprises. Their board would be restructured. And most importantly, they would adopt our e-commerce and authentication platform, the very system they had mocked a year ago. "This is robbery," Safia protested. "You can't just walk in here and—" "Your company lost $240 million last quarter," I interrupted coolly. "Your stock has dropped 60% in 6 months. Without immediate intervention, Harrison Enterprises will be bankrupt within 3 months." The room fell silent. My father seemed to age another decade before my eyes. "How much?" he finally asked. $2 billion, I replied. "About a quarter of what your company was worth a year ago, but significantly more than its current market value." Uncle James was already nodding. "It's a fair offer, Richard, more than fair." My father stared at me for a long moment. "You remind me of someone," he said slowly. "Something about the way you present your case." I felt my heart skip but maintained my composure. "Do we have a deal?" The papers were signed within hours. As my family filed out, looking shell-shocked, Safia paused. "Miss Sterling," she said hesitantly, "I noticed your computer background. It showed artisan jewelry. Do you shop on Artisan Global too?" I allowed myself a small smile. "You could say I'm intimately familiar with the platform." 1 month later, I called a company-wide meeting at Harrison Enterprises. The entire executive team was present, along with my family, when I walked onto the stage, this time as myself. The gasps were audible. Safia dropped her phone. My father half rose from his seat. "Alexandra." "Hello, Dad." I took off the wig and glasses, surprised to see what selling things online can lead to. The next hour was chaos. I explained everything: how Artisan Global had grown into Sterling Tech Ventures, how we'd built a multi-billion-dollar tech empire while they weren't paying attention, how their new CEO had been the daughter they dismissed all along. "This is impossible," Safia kept saying. "You can't be. You were just selling junk on the internet." I finished for her. Amazing how that junk built a company worth more than Harrison Enterprises ever was. My father sat silent throughout my presentation, watching as I outlined my plans for the company's transformation. Finally, as the shocked executives filed out, he approached me. "I was wrong," he said quietly, "about everything." "Yes," I agreed, "you were. Can you ever forgive me?" I looked at him, really looked at him, and saw not the imposing figure who had dominated my life, but an old man who had failed to see the future changing around him. "This isn't about forgiveness, Dad. It's about evolution. The business world is changing. Companies either adapt or die." Over the next year, Harrison Enterprises underwent a complete metamorphosis. We integrated Artisan Global's technology across all divisions. The authentication system that had started with handcrafted jewelry now verified everything from luxury goods to industrial components. My team moved into the corporate offices, though we kept our old space as a reminder of where we started. Mike headed our expanded tech division, Lisa revolutionized our marketing, and Tom streamlined our global operations. Sophia, surprisingly, turned out to be an eager student once she got over her shock. She now runs our artisan relations department, working directly with the craftspeople she once dismissed. 2 years after the takeover, I sat in what had been my father's office, reviewing our latest quarterly reports. Revenue had tripled. Our stock price had hit record highs. And most importantly, we were helping thousands of artisans preserve their cultural heritage while building sustainable businesses. My phone buzzed. A message from Dad. "Just saw the Wall Street Journal article about our artisan empowerment program. You've built something extraordinary. Not just a business, but a legacy." I smiled, looking out at the Seattle skyline. On my desk sat 2 items: the paper cut from our first $1 million month celebration, and the business plan my family had laughed at years ago. My mother had asked me recently if I'd planned it all: becoming the ghost billionaire, buying my father's company, proving them all wrong. The truth was I hadn't. I'd simply believed in something they couldn't see, that success doesn't always look like corner offices and corporate mergers. Sometimes it looks like a simple website connecting artisans to the world. Sometimes the best revenge isn't proving others wrong, but proving yourself right. That evening, I walked through our office, now humming with hundreds of employees. In the main lobby, a digital display showed real-time transactions from artisans around the world, each sale representing a dream being realized, a tradition being preserved. "Ms. Harrison?" A young intern approached nervously. I had an idea for a new platform feature. I smiled, remembering another young woman with an idea nobody believed in. Tell me about it, I said. And please call me Alex. After all, success isn't just about proving your critics wrong. It's about helping others prove their critics wrong too.